what is the position of the law on this? Private legal practitioner Samson Ladi Anyanini joins us via phone. Thank you very much, sir, for your time on JoyNews Prime. This certainly borders on the Fees and Charges Act. A while ago on radio, on Joy FM, the Deputy Roads Minister, Stephen Jalula, argued that the minister took an administrative decision to save lives and property. Does the law allow that?
The people that have the privilege of being in public office and being political leaders must be careful not to behave as if, you know, when they are supposed to speak the truth, they must at all costs, because it disfavors them, they must at all costs turn the law upside down and confuse the public, miseducate, and all of that. It is very shameful. If something is done and it's not done right, all of them should be able to come together and agree. It cannot be the case that all the time one is right, one is wrong. Every single thing they must disagree. I mean, except they are passing, you know, their car load. This is very shameful, and they should stop it. The basic principle of law is that once a law has been passed by Parliament, which we have all given our power to pass law under the Constitution, once the law has been passed, that law cannot be reversed, cannot be suspended, cannot be revoked by an administrative fiat or administrative action. And that's the basic thing. When the law is enforced, the only way to change the law or to stop the law or to revoke it is to use the due process of law and not by an executive fiat. So either the law is amended, the law is repealed, or it has been a matter for a court, and then the court has struck the law down as being unconstitutional, and therefore doesn't pass muster. Now, I understand the speaker from a certain perspective. His perspective is that if his point is that because it's a law in operation and the minister has by executive fiat sought to revoke the law, and that is why he's calling him into the House, that is why he's giving the directive and goes ahead to issue the threat that if he does not comply, then he will suffer being cited to be punished for contempt. Then the speaker is wrong on that. Because once Parliament passes a law, an executive assents to the law, and it becomes binding law, Parliament does not have the power of policing the law in the nature of enforcing it, including through punishment. Okay. That becomes a matter for a court. It is in the province of the court to punish for non-enforcement of the law and not for Parliament. But where I share his concern is where he argues that, if that is his point, that you have come here with a proposal in a budget. That remains a proposal until and unless Parliament has endorsed it. So you don't bring the proposal, and without the people's representatives who have been put there to check the executive, without them endorsing it, then you move out of that place in the next minute and you claim that the proposal I have brought has metamorphosed into something that has been approved and can be actioned or is actionable. In that regard, the procedural propriety has not been complied with. And I believe that somehow we should be thankful to a parliament like this. We should be thankful to a speaker who is not with the government, as in the party in government, so that we can have these things corrected. Because otherwise, if we didn't have a parliament like this one, if we didn't have a speaker who is not from the party in power, this will go without any complaint.
Very well.
Except that, as usual, we'll say let the minority have their say and the majority will have their way. I think where there's clear breach of procedure, which is as important as substantive law, and Parliament has the power to exercise, they should exercise it and bring some sanity so that executive does not begin to think that they are beyond check and that Parliament is not there for a purpose.
Very well.
Otherwise, why do you take the budget to Parliament to read it? Why don't you sit in the executive chamber and read it there?
Well, thank you very much, Samson. We'll leave it here for now. For now, we know that some members on the majority side at least are agreeing that decision was not within the purview of the law and the right thing must be done. We'll be following this closely to see what happens. That's a private legal practitioner, Samson Ladi Anyanini. Now, JoyNews checks at some toll booths show that traffic congestion has eased following the scrapping of the tolls on public roads and bridges. The Finance Minister, Kenneth Friata, on Wednesday, as you may know, disclosed to Parliament that though the tolling system has played a crucial role in funding the expansion of Ghana's road infrastructure, it creates an unpleasant situation at tolling points, a reason it has been scrapped. Maxwell Abubavi studied Tamamoto Way toll booth this morning. Here's what he found.
Here at Accra Tamamoto Way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the toll booths, all of them are empty. The only people we can see here is the Ghana Police Service, armed police officers, 2 of them, signaling motorists to continue with their journey to move and not to stop. Let's speak to some of the sellers who have been cashing in on the congestion that is created here as a result of the toll booth. Let's speak to them. Many of them are telling me that their source of livelihood now is gone because this toll booth is no longer going to function. And that is what we saw when we visited the Weja toll booth also. Okay, well, basically what she's saying is that now that they've stopped collecting the toll, what do they want them to do? What does government want them to do? Because she says usually poor people are the ones who join queues to vote for government, and she's saying that they join the queue to vote for the government, and this is what they're getting as a reward.
What you say? It's na for de kwani mu se bia be kwani mu kakra. Okay. Now we are kwada de chimba ya. Almost some way me jala ni mu kra menje because car no so line cha na yeso etimi ton bibi. E ma yensa koya no se se ala inchi ye be se da to bibi. Okay.
Well, what she's saying is that they make money when there's congestion here, and that's how they sell to the people who are in the vehicles and the cars paying the toll. Now that the toll booth is no longer going to function, she doesn't know how they're going to survive. Yeah, that's it. Well, she says she's a member of the New Patriotic Party, and she's a member of the New Patriotic Party, and that she thinks there's a lot of hardship, and that the governance of the country is not really going well.
Yeah, plantain company I want my community one. Into the plantain black boys no matter no trafficking. Yeah. Weekends no much yamika. Since you one thing say no be anya konya ko school betuma nya banjuma ye. This is your stop some me on to do to boot. Be sin na your light bill. Any water bill near danka.
Okay, thank you. Well, he's also raising similar concerns about their source of livelihood taken away from them because these toll booths are no longer going to function. They told us that the tolls that are collected are very insignificant, but they they spend countless hours, countless productive hours in traffic just waiting, to move. And they believe strongly that scrapping the toll system would now reduce their travel time, would now reduce their commute time.
Well, some residents of Kaswa and its environs had for years urged government to tackle the traffic situation there. They partly blamed the traffic on the toll booth in that area. In the following reports, they urged government to address the situation further.
Between the hours of 9 and 10 a.m., the roads leading to Kaswa are simply free of vehicular congestion. At the main bus terminal at Commuter interchange, drivers simply cannot find passengers for the journey to commence.
By this time, the
situation is different in the evening when workers close and early morning when they are heading to work. Isaac Bondi has been plying the road for 12 years.
Kaswa is not far. It should take about 35 minutes. But with the traffic, you need a minimum of an hour and a half. We spend a lot on fuel.
Transport analyst Dr. Ernest Ajiman believes rail can be an option.
So people are already desirous to have a change in the inefficient status quo that we have from the trotro-dominated public transit to a mass transit, provided it's going to not crawl in traffic like President Dayelolo is doing. But I guess rail will not have any issue with traffic. So then I think that's something that people will be willing to switch and use.
The central regional town of Kaswa is home to more than 370,000 people. It is approximately 30.9 kilometers by road from the capital of Accra, and depending on the traffic situation, it can be a journey completed in 56 minutes or at good times 35 minutes. During peak traffic hours, one can expect a minimum of 2 hours travel time. Harry Enim Harrison is a driver who knows the roads leading to Kaswa quite well. I joined him for a trip to Kaswa. It is 5:40 p.m. Our journey commences from the taxi terminal under the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. Harry explains why he moved to live at Kaswa.
I have my project there, and I wanted to get closer to it and monitor it, and probably finish it in time.
And eventually, when you found out that there was traffic, were you shocked?
Yes, I was really shocked because as a driver, I've been going through, traffic situations, but not as huge as that of Kaswa.
My journey with Harry, which commenced at 5:40 p.m., ends at 7:40. We finally get to our destination. It's been almost like 2 hours, and as you can imagine, it's quite frustrating. Other drivers who use the road have their own concerns.
At times,
the private car owners tend to move faster because they use smaller nodes. Before Tetegu, they must also fix the roads to make it smoother at all parts. The drivers must have the right amount and simply pay at the toll so they move faster.
First, toll booth on the toll,
First, the toll booth. There are 4 lanes. That's not enough. They even add one during the morning and it helps a little. When you get to Old Barrier around Tetegu, there are speed ramps which delay us.
For now, the journey to Kaswa remains a fear for many. Only time will tell what will change. Will there be other means of transportation? Will the toll booth be removed or will the road be expanded? My name is Joseph Akable.
So this report was filed by Joseph earlier. Well, today their prayers have been answered. Inimo Inimado visited the toll booth at Kaswa, and here's her report.
Over 10 years since this road was constructed and this toll booth was constructed, it's an almost unprecedented scene to see cars and traffic flowing freely at this point. What's really funny though is there's some people who perhaps may have missed the budget and so are still sticking out their hands to try and pay the toll operators, the non-existent toll operators who this morning are not at post. On the other side though, the usual crowd of hawkers can't really be found. If you look around, you notice that there's normally quite a good number of people who are selling, drinks, bread, all sorts of things, plantain chips. We can't really find them this morning because the traffic is moving, so there's nobody to sell to really. The MP for the area, Mr. Sylvester Tete, is here to address concerns of the hawkers because this is their business, this is their livelihood, and this morning there's really no one to sell to. So they've gathered here, as you can see. They seem really annoyed, not happy about the situation. But the MP is here, so we're just going to have a quick conversation with him and find out what he's doing here.
The usual is of any human being when you are affected by policy of government, naturally you react the way my constituents are reacting. I was in Parliament yesterday when the policy was introduced. Quickly I had to make contact with them because I'm in constant contact with them. Even before yesterday, throughout the electioneering campaign, I've been here. Some of them are residents and constituents. They voted for me. So I have to come in and explain the government policy to them and announce an intervention I personally have for them in this constituency. I've announced 3 interventions that I'm going to do. We are going to do a registration of all the members here, and then I'll personally give them some soft interest-free loans, give it to them not to repay back, to support their businesses ahead of this Christmas. And then also the young ones among them, I've asked them to put their names together. I'm going to train them in the vocation of their choice. And then the third one is to liaise with the municipal assembly to create a temporary market for them or to integrate them into the existing market. I'm going to look at the cost of getting into the existing market, to liaise with the assembly to give them time to pay, because if you ask them to go back today and demanding money from them, they won't be able to pay.
That was the Honourable Member of Parliament for this area, and there are lots of hawkers around. They're not happy at all.
So it's quite a mixed reaction there. But you recall there was a government policy to employ persons with disability at the toll booth. Well, guess what? This new directive will affect them. JoyNews has cited a notice sent to toll workers shortly after the budget reading. Let me bring you details of that. And it says that removal of road toll on public roads and bridges following the announcement made by the Finance Minister in the 2022 budget on Wednesday, November 17, 2021, with direct reference to road tolls. Please note that toll collection at all stations ceases at midnight today. This statement was issued yesterday. In line with government's objective to ensure that job losses are minimized, we are in discussion with the Ministry of Roads and Highways and the Ghana Highways Authority to come up with alternative arrangements that would reduce the impact of the closure on our employees. The alternative will be communicated to you in due course. All employees will be paid accordingly for the month of November and December 2021. On behalf of management, I sincerely thank each and every one of you for all the effort and hard work you have invested in our company through the last 2 years that we have worked together. It is our hope that our discussions will bear fruit and create more sustainable employment opportunities for all of you. And so this statement was issued by the General Manager of the Road Toll Services. Let's go on phone now and speak to Alexander Tete. He is the Executive Director of the Center for Employment of Persons with Disability. Mr. Tete, thank you for joining us. You were engaged ahead of this announcement, the announcement of the directive or the policy?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. I can tell you that we were not engaged, neither the leadership of the organization the two workers were engaged about this directive. So this directive came to us as a surprise, and it's a shock to the two workers with disabilities.
How have they been reacting to this since the circular, following that budget presentation?
In fact, reaction has been very bad. They are traumatized. In fact, most of them have not taken this news lightly at all. Most of them are in shock about this directive.
The finance minister said, and the statement, in fact, the circular, a copy of which you have, reiterate the point that they will be reassigned. Any idea on when that will happen? Have you started conversations on that reassignment?
No, we haven't started any conversation. We don't know when this reassignment will take place. We don't know the nature and form of this reassignment. Because, of course, they haven't discussed anything with us. They haven't discussed anything with the two workers with disabilities. And so we don't know what actually is happening. And we don't know what plans they have in store for us.
The circular also promised that at least their salaries for November and December will be paid. Assuring?
Yes, it is. But, I mean, it's not enough. Because as we speak, their 2 months salary, which is, we are in November, right?
Yes.
So September, October salary have not been paid to the two workers. They have not received their September and October salary. And so if they are laying them off or they are suspending their appointment and they are telling them that November and December salary will be paid, so after November and December, what happens? Okay, what happens to them? What happens to their family? What happens to their children? And so it's very important for government to come out clear exactly what the plans are. And I don't understand why they rush. I mean, the minister made a statement or presented his statement yesterday. And the same yesterday or midnight, early morning today, all two workers must stop. I mean, it's so shocking and so surprising.
Well, Mr. Alexander, would want to thank you for your time here on JoyNews Prime. That's Alexander Tete. He is with